A digital character sprints up a rocky incline, glides across a wooden bridge without losing momentum, and plunges smoothly into an ocean wave. Without strict structural rules, that exact same character floats an inch above the dirt, stutters erratically at the shoreline, and violently snags on the microscopic gaps between bridge planks. We resolve these physics failures by establishing a strict 4-part architecture. We will organize the engine's physical layers, centralize the variable data, define absolute triggers for water entry, and mathematically verify the results on screen. A polished walk animation cannot hide bad collision math. When the terrain interaction is mathematically seamless, the player stops thinking about the controller entirely. Step 1 is defining the physical boundaries of the world. The Unity physics engine does not understand visual geometry. It only understands explicitly defined collision layers. We start in the project settings under the Tags and Layers menu. Here, we create 2 distinct categories, one labeled ground and one labeled water. We take every walkable surface, the terrain meshes, the cobblestone paths, and the bridges, and assign it to the new ground layer. Ocean and river colliders receive the water layer. Next, we select our player object and locate the player movement script. We route these specific layers directly into the ground and water layer masks inside the component. When a character appears to walk on thin air over a bridge, the script has not failed. The environment artist simply forgot to assign the bridge's physical mesh to the ground layer mask. With the layers defined, we need to manage the numbers. Instead of typing gravity and snap distance values directly into the player script, we extract them into a single, centralized locomotion setting scriptable object. We create this configuration asset in our project folder and plug it directly into the locomotion setting slot on the player object. Now that movement on solid ground is stable, we face the shoreline anomaly. This diagram shows a downward vector scanning from a character. Over a shallow slope, the line misses the water geometry, confusing the engine. We fix this with a water surface volume. Inside this trigger zone, the script bypasses raycasts and uses absolute coordinates. We built this by creating an empty object on the beach, adding a box collider, and checking the isTrigger parameter so the player can physically walk inside it. Inside the water surface volume component, we set a specific value for the surface world Y parameter. By explicitly telling the script exactly how high the water is at that specific beach, the character transitions seamlessly from walking to swimming, regardless of the underlying mesh geometry. We have built the layers and the water volumes, but visual testing is subjective. We need real-time mathematical proof that the engine is reading these states correctly. We attach the player movement debug overlay script directly to our player hierarchy. In play mode, we monitor the corner of the screen. We verify that grounded metric reads true when traversing the terrain layer, and we confirm the exact water Y integer populates the moment we step inside the shoreline trigger volume. The final piece of the architecture involves microscopic friction failures. Even with perfect layers, characters will frequently snag and halt on entirely flat wooden bridges. This diagram shows a physics capsule moving across a bridge. With high friction and low step offset, the capsule catches on microscopic seams. By increasing the step offset and slope limit, the capsule smoothly glides over these vertical interruptions. We reinforce this by creating the custom physics material, lowering the friction multiplier to 0.2 and applying it strictly to the bridge colliders. Finally, we must delete any underlying terrain colliders that sit directly beneath road meshes. Stacking collision boxes forces the physics engine to rapidly guess which floor to snap to, causing the character to jitter violently. Fluid gameplay relies entirely on the deliberate tuning of these microscopic rigid body interactions. The character runs down a steep incline, hits the edge of the landmass, and breaks the surface of the basin without a single physics hitch. This result is secured by strict layer masks, localized configuration assets, absolute water volumes, and low-friction materials. Because we decoupled our data into scriptable objects, we can now link the in-game gym UI progression directly to the player's swim speed asset. The player's swimming velocity scales automatically with their upgrades, and we never have to touch the core movement math again. When you map your physical interactions with precision, you give the player a reliable, predictable world. Mastering these foundational systems turns a frustrating technical prototype into a polished, commercial-grade experience.